Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a suburban house under varying levels of construction, including 3 different construction vehicles, which when put together, creates a very impressive and interesting new part of your city. First of all, we will make the house foundation, including a concrete truck pouring concrete. Then we will make the ground floor of the house, including an excavator. After that, we will make a near completed version of the house, including a crane. And lastly, we will make the fully completed version of the house that is ready to be put up for sale, that includes the entire interior as well. Fun fact, I was hidden somewhere in this very long intro. Let me know down below if, where, when and how you found me. I've made it really difficult, so I'd be surprised if anyone did. For each phase of the build, I will provide a separate item list to keep things nice and simple. And each phase of the build also shares the same size grid with the exact same starting position each time. But without any further ado, Part 1. This is the amount of space required to make the build, a 16 block wide by 31 block area, as represented by this handy grid, which I would recommend that you build in your world. To find the starting position, we count inwards 8 blocks from the front left hand corner of the grid, extending backwards, and then 3 blocks to the right. That's where we start. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin the build by digging 12 rows to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then dig 12 rows backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Dig all the way across, and then join all the way back to where we first started. We can then remove all of the grass in between. We then want to remove 2 additional layers of grass / dirt / whatever is inside this big empty space. Next, we are going to place a layer of grey concrete at the base of our hole. Next, we are going to place rows of terracotta to form a grid. So, to do this, we will count from the front left-hand corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, place a red terracotta. And then we will leave a gap of the same, starting from the front right corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we will place a red terracotta. We will extend these terracottas backwards towards the back of our hole like this. And now we have to place some going the other way as well. So we will, starting from the corner, but facing the other way, count 1, 2, 3, 4, red terracotta, and we'll do the same here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, red terracotta. And it is asymmetrical, so it's up to you. You can bring these in an additional row like this, so they are a bit tighter, or you can keep them out. I think that I'm going to keep them a bit tighter like this, and then I'm just going to extend them across. And what we'll eventually have is just a giant hash symbol, pretty much. It's at this point in the build that if you were making multiples of the building site, that you could actually stop here and this looks good. Not only that, a further way to customize this, which would look really cool, is to add the excavator next to the hole. Next, we are going to add a layer of stone extending all the way around the inside of our hole. And then we are going to add another layer of stone on top. I'm not sure this makes the most sense, but I do then like to add a layer of stone slab on top of this as well, just so that it kind of further stands out. But there's not really a logical reason for this. I just happen to think that it kind of looks a little bit better. However, if you are making a concrete truck, then you would want to remove the side of these slabs that the concrete truck is going to back up onto. And I also like to replace the stone on that side for light grey concrete for some reason. I don't know why I do the things that I do. Speaking of the concrete truck, it's time to make it. I am building mine so that it is backed up into the foundation and is ready to pour concrete. So I'm going to place here in this position or here. It doesn't matter which, it's whichever you prefer. It's either here or here. We will want to place a polished black stone slab, and that is going to be the center of the back of the vehicle. We will extend the slab left and right like this, and then we will place 2 black concrete extending in from both ends, 1, 2, 1, 2. We will then place an iron trapdoor extending in from both ends, followed by a polished black stone slab, then another black concrete, and then a smooth stone slab, black concrete, another smooth stone slab, like this. We will then connect the front part of the vehicle together using smooth stone slabs until we get to these wheels, and then we are going to place polished black stone slab here and here in between these wheels, and then I think that we will leave this, as a matter of fact, we'll connect it together with a trapdoor just for continuity like this. Then we are going to place a blast furnace up front and center at the front of the vehicle with smooth quartz block either side, a stone stair behind the blast furnace, smooth quartz blocks extending around the stair. We'll add a row of smooth quartz along the back and black stained glass along the rest of the front of the cab, and then smooth quartz slabs across the top of this to form a roof. Then we will place tripwire hooks here with acacia buttons here and glow item frames here, and the same just on the opposite side as well. And then we will place stone buttons on the sides of each one of the black concrete wheels. we can add a license plate here in the form of an acacia sign, and you can kind of just make it whatever you want. Concrete 1, I think, is a solid number plate. Then, just moving to the back of the truck, we are going to add glow item frames extending off of the back two corners with red concrete inside of the item frames. We also want to add a row of polished blackstone slab here, just behind the cab of the truck. Extend this middle block up, and then add an anvil here, just like so. Next, we are going to grab orange terracotta and place a row of 3 here from the trapdoor to the back wheel. And we will extend up by 2 rows, just like this. We will then extend the bottom row across to the opposite side of the truck, and then up and join across. Next, on both sides, we will place a smooth red sandstone here in the middle of each one of the sides like so. And we just want to plug that hole there. We will then place stairs in each one of the 4 corners to kind of make a circular shape. And we will do this on both sides of the mixing truck, just like this. Then we will add a hopper here, iron trapdoor here, button here, lever here. Something cool that we can do with the cement truck is add scaffolding to the side here so that we can climb up and onto our trapdoor. Now we are actually able to operate the truck, and we can give the appearance that we are actually pouring concrete into the foundation. So the way that I'm doing this is by adding some andesite slabs inside of the truck, pouring out into the hopper, which you can leave like this, or maybe even add a light grey carpet on top of. I'm not sure which I prefer better. But underneath the hopper, we can add an andesite wall like this. I'm not sure if we can actually adjust the hopper so that it feeds into the wall rather than the truck itself. And then underneath this, it's completely up to you how to do this, but you can give the appearance that we are pouring concrete by using concrete powder like this, and we can have it actually flow from the hopper like this, so that it looks like it is being poured directly into here. And maybe we could have it seem as though that we have kind of like a gradation. So what I mean by that, right, is we can have like a series of powder like this, so kind of in a semicircle pattern, maybe something like this. And then we can add some slabs. So as the concrete kind of like gets dispersed out, I know that these are different colors, so I'm not sure that this is the best way to do this, but I do think it actually looks cool. So we can make it seem as though that the concrete is actually like dispersing out, and we can add some light grey carpet. So what this is meant to look like, I don't know whether it does or not. It's meant to look as though that the concrete is actually flowing from the truck and it is slowly filling up this hole, starting with here. But I don't think that looks too bad whatsoever. Next, I'm just going to add a chain link fence around what we've made. So leaving a gap of 3 from the start, 1, 2, 3. I'm then going to dig and remove the grids. And I'm going to dig back this way and stop in the same position, so 1, 2, 3 here. And I'm using andesite underneath the chain link fence, but you can use whatever you want, whether that's stone, light grey concrete. Some sort of grey block is really what we're looking for. I realise that we've used andesite for the foundation as well, but... And then on top of the stone block of choice, we are then just going to stack 2 rows of iron bars. Now, these aren't even necessary. We don't necessarily need to add a fence around this, but I think that it does just make sense too. There we go. I do think that that looks a little bit better. Now, just as I was building this, I was wondering if the foundation might look a little bit better as the concrete was dispersing out if we removed. I think that that actually makes it look a little bit better, and one might even be able to argue that we could remove these as well and place the slab there, but that might have actually added to the effect. I actually think it looked better like this, like it is slowly getting covered up. So that's what I would do if you did want to make it seem as though concrete was being poured. At this point, you could very well consider the building site complete. However, let me show you how to add a few random bits of detail that may or may not improve it for you. And do feel free to place these anywhere, not specifically where I am. It would make sense if we had a stack of bricks somewhere on the building site. A 2x2 block would do, but you could also, of course, make it higher and higher and higher. I always think that empty pallets look good in builds like these, which are made by combining some campfires together and then extinguishing the flames, either in rows of 2x3 or maybe even just another 2x2 like this. The back of the build is large enough so that we can add some lumber in the form of 3 rows of oak planks, or any wood really, with an additional row at the top. And then we can extend some rails across both ends like this to make them seem as though that they are strapped down and together. And not only that, a workbench is good in combination with this as well. So this would be a crafting table with a spruce trapdoor next to it, stone cutter on top, and then we can just flip up a spruce trapdoor like this. And of course, just random chests everywhere always makes sense. I think another cool and appropriate build is a small cement mixer. So this is one that you would operate by hand rather than the giant truck over there. We can start with an orange concrete block with an acacia fence gate attached to it, polished blackstone buttons on the sides, and then just an item frame on top, and it kind of looks like a cement mixer. And then just next to it, we would need a cauldron with some water, and an item frame with an iron shovel, and maybe just a flower pot off to the side. I would also like it if we had some like bags of cement, but I don't really know what best looks like a bag that we can like stack on the floor. So maybe like this calcite block kind of looks like a bag, and maybe we can just put like cement mix on the bag or something like it. Is that too on the nose? I don't know, you guys can let me know. But maybe we can also stack some just polished diorite slabs around as well, just to make it seem as though that we've just got a bunch of bags, maybe. Last thing, it would make sense if we roughed up the area. So if you have grass like I do, anywhere that people would be walking and doing things, the grass probably wouldn't stay grass for long, so you might want to just add some coarse dirt just so that it kind of like makes sense, especially like where the truck is going. Like there probably wouldn't be any grass after this. I don't know how many ton truck has been there, but like around anywhere that we would have any of this stuff, and maybe even like up here, you know, something like that, just kind of like rough the place up a little bit. And at this point in time, I would be very happy to say that phase 1 is complete. Next, we will move on to phase 2, the ground floor and excavator. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin by placing 5 light grey concrete in a row on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then place 2 smooth stone slab. 1, 2. And then 5 light grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then extend backwards by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then extend across the back of the build by placing 5 smooth stone slabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then light grey concrete. And the goal is to extend across and forwards so that we join all the way back to where we first started. We are then able to fill the inside of this space in with and inside. I really like andesite for this job because it looks like a really rough floor material, which is what it would be at this stage in the building. Now that we have our foundation laid, we can come all the way to the front left hand corner of the build and place a row of white concrete extending across our light grey. We then extend up by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we extend to the right and down to our light grey concrete to create a doorway. We then extend over to the right here. We will then extend up by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're actually going to extend back on ourselves and down to the opposite side. This looks vaguely creepy. Well, from here we are going to make 2 windows by placing an additional row of white concrete up the inside row here and then across the top. So we'll do this on the left and on the right as well. So we have a door space and 2 windows. We then, on the right side of the build here, want to extend this row backwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we are going to raise this row up all the way to here. Then we will extend this row across and down. So we're just extending the top block. We are leaving this open for a very specific reason later. And then we are going to come to the opposite side of the build and we are just going to completely fill this side wall in. So just from the light grey concrete all the way up, we want to match the height of the front of the build. We want to have something which should look like this. Next, we are going to add some red terracotta beams across the top of the house. To place these, we will leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we will place a row of red terracotta horizontally across the top here, and then we'll leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, and then another one, and that will do. If you have built the foundation of the build over here, then these will look a little bit familiar, and you could place them in the opposite direction as well, but I think that just looks a little bit better with 2. Now, I'm actually very happy with how this looks right now, but if you are making multiples of these and do want to change things up, you always have the option of adding some wall at the back of the house. So you can start constructing a wall like this, you can part make it like so, you can fully make it like this and extend it across, you could part make it and even add some bricks to it to give the appearance that it is still in construction. Another good way to kind of add to this effect is to add scaffolding next to this, so it is quite clear that this is still being worked on. And optionally, we could even just start adding another row of the red terracotta support here, so we could build it up as far as this. So maybe we have one support beam in here, maybe you could add another one in here too, and then a row of white concrete just across the top. Another cool idea is to build the crane next to the house and have it lower one of the support beams into the roof section. I think that that looks really cool, and if you are building multiples of these, or maybe even just this one, I think that this is a really cool idea. Back to the tutorial. Next, we are going to start building some bricks in this empty space of the wall. We are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 brick blocks, and then we are just going to create a slope like so. Then we are going to place a bamboo trapdoor here, 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 and here. We're going to stick a brick slab here, and then light grey carpet on the other trapdoors. Then we are going to place 2 rows of bamboo fence extending along the sides of this. So these are 3 rows high, but if you were building this somewhere else, say like out here, you can customize this to be as high as you possibly needed. So you could make it this high, and you could make the platform here, for example. You don't just have to have it specifically look this way if you're reusing it. In addition to this, we are going to place a cauldron here, with a water bucket here, item frame here, iron shovel here. Next, we will place a flower pot here, and we will add some ladders to this wall. We will then place an orange concrete here in this position with an acacia fence gate against it, polished blackstone buttons either side, item frame here, and then calcite block here with a birch sign here. So I'm literally just writing like concrete mix, and I don't know how else to make this, but I'm hoping that that sort of looks like a bag filled with concrete, or concrete powder, or concrete mix. And I think that this is really cool. I think that this really sets a nice scene inside of the build. Now, over here on the opposite side of the build, we are going to make another little wall using brick slabs. So we'll build up, say, 2.5 rows of bricks here, and we'll extend them across, and then we'll start tapering down, so kind of like this sort of shape. Of course, you can customize these, like you can make it this high. You wouldn't have anything like this really, unless the wall did actually have like a little window in it, but something like this would look good as well, but I just kind of like the shape that I made previously. And next to this, we are going to have a little workbench. So this is going to be a spruce trapdoor here and here, stone cutter on top, crafting table next to it, and I think either like a chest here or maybe like a chest here against this wall would look good as well. Something else that we can use too is a wheelbarrow. So the best way that I found to make a wheelbarrow is a composter, grindstone against it, spruce fence gate behind it, and then if we just fill it up with some sort of natural material, I mean, I think that that's about as good as you're going to get with a wheelbarrow. Now, if you did want to try and customize it a little bit, you can do this with any sign and gate combo. You can, for instance, place some acacia signs against it, an acacia fence gate, and there you have an orange wheelbarrow, and of course you can do this with anything. Orange looks a little bit better in my opinion. I would also recommend just building up some scaffolding just along the side of the build, wherever there are kind of like empty parts, kind of like this, I think would look good. And maybe even just here, like in front of the windows, it seems as though that the window has either just been finished or is being worked on. Maybe we could even just go higher. Maybe we can just go all the way up to the top. Something like this looks good. In the front garden, I think it does always just make sense that there's like bricks laying around. So just like a stack of bricks here. And I always like to have the kind of like empty pallet, which is just campfires in a row and then extinguished. I think that these just always look good. Now is a great time to make the excavator. I'm going to build mine right here in the corner of the garden. Begin by placing 5 grey concrete on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave a gap of 1 and then place another row. So I am facing mine so that it can dig up the ground here right next to it. So just have a think about where and what you want your excavator to do, and that'll kind of give you an idea of how you should position it. If it's kind of just idling in the back garden, I might consider just kind of like building it in the corner, kind of like facing the house, but it really is completely up to you. I can't really tell you where to put it. I'm sure you guys will figure it out. Next, we are just going to place some stone buttons along the sides of the wheels like this, and then we will place yellow concrete on top of the 3 middle blocks, just like so. We will join the yellow concrete together at the back and the front. We also have to choose a side to actually have a door, so I'm going to have mine open this way. We are also going to place a yellow concrete here and here in the 2 back corners with a polished blackstone wall on top, and we will have 2 polished blackstone wall here as well. 1, 2, 1, 2. We'll stick a stone stair here, And we will join the roof of the cab together with string, which we will then be able to place a black carpet on top of. That is looking pretty good. And for the actual door, we're just going to use a bamboo fence gate, if you even want one at all. We will then place a yellow concrete here, with a lever facing this way. We then want to place a yellow concrete against the lever, extend up to, and then we can grab a hopper and place one here so that it joins down and connects like this at an angle. Then a stone brick wall here. We then want to place a yellow concrete against it, underneath, stone brick wall underneath that. And then we need an upside down stone stair. And then underneath said stair, we just want a stone slab, just like so. And just to finish this off, we are going to place a couple of item frames on the back here with red concrete. Now, I did actually also consider adding some bamboo signs, kind of like cladding the lower part of the cab, but I'm not sure whether it makes it look better or not. I think... I don't know, I can't let you guys be the judge. Like, did it look better before? Does it look better now? I might have preferred it before. Next, we are just going to create a small hole next to the excavator that the excavator has been, well, excavating. And the idea here is that we are creating a hole so that we can add some pipes into the house. So whether these be water pipes or gas pipes or whatever it is you want to use your imagination for, we want to create a hole that is big enough so that we can have a pipe that seemingly gets fed into the house. So I think that something like this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. You might want to rough this up a little bit more. Maybe we can do something like this. I think that actually looks pretty good. And not only that, we should probably add some coarse dirt into the base of this, just so that this doesn't regrow into grass. You do always have the option of adding some terracotta in here, or maybe some podzol, but I'm actually quite happy with how that looks at present. I also like the idea of having some workmen around as well, so maybe like one here, one here. So these are arm stands with Steve heads, which we are then going to outfit with orange leather tunics, blue leather pants or trousers, and netherite boots. So we can give them these outfits right here, and I think that you see, I think that looks really, really good. You know what? I like the outfit so much, I think that I'm actually going to wear it. And we do always have the option of like giving these guys some tools as well. And maybe even we can stick like a cauldron over here in the background, and maybe even a chest, or maybe like a crafting table and chest, or something that these guys can work with to get this hole dug. And beyond this, now, if you like, you can add a chain link fence that goes all the way around the edge of the building site. This is a row of andesite dug into the ground that leaves a gap of 3 from the front of the build, and then we just destroy all of the grid and add 2 rows of iron bars on top. Now, this looks really good in my opinion, but depending upon whether you care about things like logic, this excavator would have to have gotten in here. So it could be that the chain link fence was opened and then closed again for the excavator, but you may want to just remove an excavator amount of fence, something like this would do. We could even stick some like stone brick wall just on the ends here to make it seem as though that the fence has been like messed and tampered with a little bit. And we can remove the grass from underneath, just like this. And if you wanted to go even one step further, you could even make some like tracks leading into into the building site as well, which I think looks pretty good. And with that final detail added, ladies and gentlemen, I would say that we have 100% completed phase 2 of the building site. Next, we will move on to part 3, the nearly completed build with the crane. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin the build by placing 5 light grey concrete in a row on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then place 2 andesite. 1, 2. Then 5 more light grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then want to extend towards the back of the build by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We will then extend across the back of the build by 3. 1, 2, 3. Place a single andesite. Then place light grey concrete extending across and then forwards all the way to the very front of the build. And then we can fill the center of our build in using andesite. This is going to compose the floor, which is in still a very rough state. We haven't put down any carpets or any hardwood or anything yet. This is still the foundation. Next, we are going to make the 2 side walls by placing rows of 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 white concrete extending up from the front left hand corner of the build and the front right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we are going to extend these rows backwards. And we are just going to have 2 solid white walls along the length of our build. I actually haven't mentioned this yet in any of the tutorials, but you can exchange the white concrete for a different material of your choice if you like. You can literally use anything, whatever you want to make a house out of, bricks or any wood or maybe just another colour of concrete. These are just fully customizable. These are simply just templates and you can swap all of these ideas and materials in and out as you see fit. Part 3 feels a little late to actually vocalise this, but you know what, better late than never. So, now that we have the 2 side walls complete, we are going to add some structure to the front. So, for the front of the build, we are going to place a row of white concrete all the way along our light grey concrete. We are then going to extend these rows upwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, just like this. We're going to join them together at the top and across, just like so. And then we are going to add an additional row of white concrete here and here. This will form windows. We will also add an additional 2 rows of white concrete across the top of this. And then we actually want to make windows in the same position at the top as we have the bottom. So if we just connect the top together like this, and then we place rows of white concrete joining upwards like this, so extending upwards in the same position as we have for the lower windows like this, then this naturally forms 3 separate windows at the top like so. We also want to make the outline shape of the roof by placing rows of white concrete at the top of the build. Just extending left and right, we make a pyramid shape at the very top. We just leave 1 block off of each individual layer until we eventually create that peak. We can then come all the way to the very back of the build. On the back of the build, we are going to do something very similar, but not quite the same. We'll start off in the same way. We'll place a row of white concrete along our light grey concrete at the base here. And then we'll extend up these white concretes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and join them together across the top to create a doorway. We will then extend the white concrete left and right, just like this. And we actually want to have the same window spaces on the back as we do the front, so we can just leave a gap of 2 here, and then fill this area in with white concrete, and then we naturally just have it here on the left. And then we are going to add an additional 2 rows of white concrete on top of our pre-existing white concrete row. Then we're going to extend the top walls together, just left to right. And then we will create the same space in between all of the windows as we have on the front of the build. So if you just take a little look, we simply have a gap of 2, and then we place 2 white concrete. So each window is 2 rows wide, and then we have 2 rows of white concrete in between them all. And then we can create the same roof shape at the top of the build by placing smaller and smaller rows of white concrete at the top until we eventually have this triangular pyramid shape like this. And now we are just going to move inside and work on the interior a little bit. So first of all, we have to place a row of oak planks here in this position. So we kind of like split the house in half. This is equal distance between the upper windows and the lower windows. And this is where the second floor of the build is going to go. So in my mind, the structure for the first floor has now been complete. We are actually going to make all of the empty rooms and the walls, and we are going to make a rough version of these stairs, and there is still going to be construction happening upstairs. So now that we have just added a floor, we can place a row of oak stairs in the front left hand corner here. We start here and we place a row of oak stairs extending all the way up, and we just have to break into the second floor just like this. And underneath these, like I said, I'm thinking like a rough version of these. So maybe these stairs even still have supports in the form of scaffolding like this. I think that looks pretty good, maybe just here as well. So directly behind these stairs, there is actually a wall, and we will place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white concrete extending across, gap, then a row of white concrete. We will also extend this white concrete row backwards, 1, 2, gap, white concrete, and we can extend these rows all the way up. And if you kind of want to give a bit of a rougher sort of feel to the build, you can kind of like leave these doorways high, or if you do just want to drop them down, it's up to you. Here there is a small window, kind of like a porthole into the kitchen, so we're going to have something like this. And once again, if you want to leave it in a bit of a rougher state, you can, or you can connect it together. And you do also have the option of, if you would like, you can have it so that there's still construction happening down here if you do so choose. So you could actually have like half a wall knocked out here. It probably makes sense that it'd look like this rather than anything. And the wall, actually, yeah, that actually looks fine. That looks pretty good. And we can add some more adjustments later, but this is how we are roughly leaving the downstairs right now. For now, we are going to head all the way upstairs, and we are going to add the frame for the roof in. So to do this, we actually have to remove this row of white concrete. I should have never have added it in the first place. It's completely my bad. And we are going to place rows of oak stairs here, joining the front and back of the build together. So this is from the second layer of the triangle, if you like, the second layer of the pyramid. Then we'll leave a gap, stair, leave a gap, stair up here. So we are actually going to extend the oak stairs front to back like this, just in really long rows, like so. And let's just do it for the opposite side as well. And again, kind of like with all of these builds, if you wanted to, you could have various levels of this. Like, it would be very possible that you could use the crane build that we are actually making a little bit later. You can see it over there, to crane in some of these massive support beams that we have. Not only do we want oak stairs extending from the front to the back, but we also want them extending across. So we leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, oak stair. 1, 2, 3, oak stair. And we actually want to have these extending all the way up here as well. So they kind of like go up like this. There we go. So they join like so. So it makes kind of like a lattice. So here and here. And then I never really decided whether I prefer to have the upside down stairs underneath them or whether to just leave them as is. Let's take a little bit of a look. So I don't know what... I mean, this definitely... How did I miss this row of them? That's crazy. So I don't know whether I prefer it to have more of a rough look like this. I definitely like them underneath this kind of... Or do I? I don't know. Does this look better? Or does it look better to have the upside down rows? I actually think that this probably looks a little bit better. It looks a little bit more rough in design. You could actually incorporate some stone buttons to look like nails as well, just extending up. I think that looks pretty cool. I like that. But in terms of customization, there's actually no reason why you couldn't like chop out part of the roof like this and add like either a bunch of scaffolding up the side of the build. I hope this is enough. Up the side of the build, maybe even just like a set of ladders as well. Up the side of the roof, and there's no reason why you couldn't have just some like oak slabs hanging around as well. Or maybe you could have like a platform up here too, and you could just have some tools like for working on the roof. So you could make it look as though that the roof is actually fully under construction and you can remove as much as you like, or it's just an idea. I might even leave it as it is because I think that this looks pretty good. Moving back inside of the house now, there's no reason why we can't have partially completed parts of the house in different areas. Like the whole downstairs probably wouldn't be completed before the whole upstairs, as represented by this wall. And as we do have kind of like a half-finished wall, I don't see why we can't have like an item frame with a shovel here, maybe a cauldron here with some water in the corner. I actually like the idea of having just like bricks as well, just being laid out. I think that this sets the scene nicely. In the kitchen here, for example, you could even make it so that the pipes are still being like put in and extended up, and you can have like a lever above there, so maybe a tripwire hook, or maybe this can be the beginnings of a sink or something like that. We can have things like dust sheets kind of like hung over the windows and just around the place, just to give the appearance that once again, when we're not quite finished working on the build yet, it's still very much under construction. Maybe even some iron bars like extending up and down the wall to kind of look like electrics as well. Like, I don't want to go too overboard and like too crazy, but you know, we could definitely make it. I think that this might actually be the perfect amount. We can definitely add some things like this to make it feel as though that the house is being worked on. You know what would probably make sense as well is just like a lantern or two kind of just like hanging about for light. I think that one lantern has actually lit pretty much everything that it needs to. So now that we are quite happy with downstairs, let's head all the way upstairs and we can start work up here. The first thing that we are going to do upstairs is add a row of 3 bamboo fence here, add another row in front, and then 2 rows of 2 bamboo trapdoors extending to the right of the first fence. We will then add a fence on the opposite side. I'm going to stick a brick slab here and some light grey carpet, just like this, on top of the bamboo trapdoors. Then a cauldron here, item frame here, iron shovel here, flower pot here. Then we can fill the cauldron up with water. We can add some ladders here. We can add a mixer here. This is an orange concrete, acacia fence gate, polished blackstone buttons either side, item frame here. We can then stick a calcite in the corner here, place a birch sign on it, a bunch of dashers, and then concrete mix, and then just a bunch of dashers. We are going to rough this area up a little bit, so I think that we're going to add in a partial wall here. So we're just going to add bricks in kind of almost like a semi-random fashion. Maybe something like this would look good, I think. And I actually also like the idea of knocking out some of this window, and we can part make a wall here too. And we can add a little workbench in the form of a crafting table here, spruce trapdoor, flip one up here, stone cutter here. So yeah, that looks good. I like that. You could even hire this if you wanted to. You could make it a little bit taller. That looks great. And then we can follow this line onto the opposite wall here. So we could have something like this. And maybe we can have like a bag of cement here. So we can have the cement mix. I do not know a better... cement. Oh my gosh, I completely fumbled that. So we can have cement mix here, and we can have like an item frame here with a brick. We can have like a flower pot. We can of course just add some scaffolding here too, because why not? And maybe just like a chest somewhere too. So maybe like one here, and maybe like one here. Maybe just a cheeky one behind this wall. So maybe like, yeah, maybe there. And there, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. There might even be more ladders on the wall. It might make more sense. So where might we lack a ladder? So maybe like up here, maybe we can have a high one leading all the way up to this beam. I think that might make a little bit of sense. We could even use a bit of scaffolding too. So really making this look like a really rough work site. And I've actually seen like for like temporary lighting and stuff, so like maybe there's just some rough electrical being chucked in here, and we can have a few iron bars and then like a lantern dangling down here, kind of like in the middle of the room. So a nice little bit of rough electrics I think looks pretty good. And that might actually be it for the upstairs. The one thing that I'm wondering is maybe what if we had like a little support for the roof? So maybe like this. Does this make sense? I'm not a roofer, so I don't really know if this makes sense or not, but maybe something, you know, maybe a couple of beams. I don't know if that's too much or not, or the perfect amount, but obviously you guys can stop when you like, really, so you can keep adjusting all of this. You can keep adding, taking away, moving stuff around. If you feel like knocking out this window, knock out the window and add some bricks there, you know, like until you're happy, just keep tampering with it. This leads us all the way back outside. So as you can see from the exact same house that we are building, we have a porch that also is under construction. So here and here, we want to place a row of 1, 2 light grey concrete, 1, 2 light grey concrete. We can stick some andesite here, smooth stone slabs here, and then we can place 1, 2, 3 white concrete here, extend across and down, join back to the house here, stick 2 white concrete here. And then you could leave this as it is, by the way, or you could partially build it, or you could add some brick slabs as well, so just to make it look as though it is being built. Once again, all solid options. But what I have chose to do ultimately is to have this, and then a row of ladders up this side, and then some scaffolding up this side. And I want to give the appearance that the roof is being built. So we're just going to add some stone brick stairs here like this. So this would obviously be all the way up to the top. And I think that looks really good. So these are starting to be pulled together. And as we are working on the roof, it would make sense that we would have some like stone brick slabs lying about. And just because we are here, always the stack of bricks, I think, makes sense. And we can come all the way to the back of the house, and we can do a very similar thing here too. So we can extend these light grey concretes, 1, 2, 1, 2, fill the middle in. We can stick some smooth stone slabs here. We can build this up 3 rows high with the white concrete and connect across the top. Or once again, just the option, like since this is the back, maybe you do want to have it so that it's like partially built. I don't think that that's a bad idea at all. So maybe you could even have something like this, and then ladders up here, and if you want to, maybe the roof's also being built at the same time. It wouldn't really make too much sense, but it doesn't have to. This is Minecraft. And we can also add some scaffolding here up the side, so we get the appearance that this is being worked on from the outside the house as well, which I think looks pretty good. So on the back of the house, there will ultimately, in the finished version, also be a pathway leading from the back door all the way to the edge here. So if you wanted to part make this or fully make it, it's up to you. Maybe we leave it in kind of like a part made state. We're also going to have a patio here as well, so this is made out of smooth stone. We could make it so that we have like the edge of the patio made, and maybe we're starting to like piece it together so that we can have like a little triangular portion here, and then we can kind of like fragment out some smooth stone like this. That's what the patio is made out of. And we can have tools lying about, so bricks, we can have iron shovels, maybe we could even have a wheelbarrow as well. So this is composter and acacia fence gate against it, grindstone here, acacia signs on the side, so we can fill it all the way up to the top like this, and it just looks as though that we have something useful in there. I think that now is the perfect time to talk about the roof. There are two ways to do the roof. We have the logical and sensible version, in which we can just place rows of stone brick stairs like this. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but we can place rows of stone brick stairs along where the roof is meant to go like this, and whether or not you want to like part make it, maybe you'd like do a patch of the roof like this, like all the way up to the very top. Maybe you do like a patch of the roof, and maybe you start like working on this, and like you can do some of the overhang, and maybe you can use things like the scaffolding to... I did a little bit of experimenting, and I decided that I really like how this type of scaffolding looks. I think that this looks pretty good and kind of makes sense logically, which is what I'm trying to achieve. It doesn't have to be perfect, but what I really like as well is like this structure of scaffolding. So ladders beside the initial scaffolding, a platform made using bamboo trapdoors, and then like connection points with more scaffolding, more ladders kind of like wrapping around, more trapdoors to create like platforms, and then ladders eventually reaching our endpoint. So we're still clearly working up here on this part of the roof, and I think that that looks pretty good. So like if you did want to like keep going with this idea, we could have like another platform here, say, and then we would have to have a solid block here, and we could build up some scaffolding like up to the side, and then whatever material we're using up here, so if it's like slabs, or whether it was like okay, or if it's like stairs or something, like, you know, I think that that looks really good. So some form of this kind of like wrapping around the house, and obviously like do your own version of it, but I think that that looks pretty good. I think that that's like an interesting design for the scaffolding. It's practical and it makes sense. So that is that version of the roof, which I think is pretty cool and interesting. But then there's also this version. So what we could also do is forego all of that silly building nonsense, and we can just lower the actual roof of the house by crane onto the house. Step 1 of the silly version of the roof is to make the crane. So the crane has to have a specific position for this, and the way that we are going to do it is by lining up with the back entrance of the house. So this block here, we're going to follow along to outside of the grid, unfortunately, so you do need room for this as well. And we'll leave a gap of 1 here, and then place 1, 2 smooth stone, and then on top of this block we will place 24 polished black stone wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So from here, we will then extend backwards 1, 2, across 1, 2, forwards 1, 2, join back. In the middle, we'll stick a grey concrete. On top, we will place an anvil. Now, on top of the anvil, we're just going to place a grey concrete just because it's a little bit easier. But we are then going to place polished blackstone slabs all the way around the grey concrete like this. We are then going to extend the corner slabs up by 2, like so. And then we're going to join them together in this formation. So this is how we will make the crane arm. And we can actually make it as long or as short as we like. So all we've got to do is extend the corners this way. And what we're actually aiming for is, roughly speaking, about the middle of the roof. So about here or so. So I think one more block will do. So roughly speaking, the middle of the roof. I think maybe this row is perfect. And once you're happy, we'll stick a row rather of polished blackstone stairs on the end, and then we will place a row of polished blackstone slabs extending back. And what we have to do is we have to kind of make like a grid of slabs. So that actually works out perfectly. That's nice. So we want to have this, right? And then we want to extend the top of the arm all the way forwards to meet the stairs diagonally, like so. And we have to, every other block, join the sides up with a slab. So that's what we're doing on both sides. And the reason that we're doing the arm first before anything else is to make sure that it was in the correct position. So we'll extend all of this just like so. That is absolutely fantastic. And then we would place a hopper here with mildly annoying. So we need to stand on the block. I bet that's not low enough. So hopper. Okay, good. So hopper and then chain. And then the chain is going to extend down to the middle of the roof. So we just want to make sure that this is the right position. And that is absolutely fantastic. So as a matter of fact, this isn't even silly to have now. So we can have it. This isn't a complete waste if you're not doing this part of the roof. So what you could do is you could have it so that it's actually lowering some oak down onto the roof. So if you did not want to have like the silly version, you could actually have it so it's like lowering down some support beams or something. So regardless, it's a good thing to have either way. So we're just going to leave it like this for now as we have to build the rest of the crane because that's actually in the perfect position for the middle of the roof. So we also have to join down the other 3 corners of the crane. So this is going to be, for lack of the stand of the crane, the body of the crane. I don't know what you would call it, but regard the support of the crane. We're going to join these polished blackstone walls down all the way down here. Or not all the way down. We're leaving a gap of 1 because it sits on, I think the correct word is a plinth, but I don't want to sound silly if it's not. But it's basically just like a support for like a big concrete pad for it to stand on. So 1 row off the ground here, and then we're just going to place some smooth stone. And the smooth stone, we're going to create a rectangle or a square, whichever it is, that is just 1 row bigger here. And either side, we are going to place smooth stone slabs, so creating a platform for the crane to be balanced on. And there's also 2 ways to go about this as well. So if you wanted to, you can make it so you can climb up the inside of the crane. So if you did want to do this, you would put barrier blocks extending all the way up to the top of the crane here. And then one would place ladders on the barrier blocks leading all the way up. So all the way up to the tippity top so we can inevitably eventually get in the cab. And then we can join all of the polished blackstone walls together, leaning all the way up to the top, like this. So very much what we did with the crane arm, and we would do this on all of these sides. So the only thing that I don't like about this is it means we must leave the back of the stand, whatever you would call it, open, which I don't think it would be. I think that, I mean, it wouldn't be. We'd be able to climb up in this, and with this would be like sealed across the back like this, obviously. But because we have the ladders here, we can't do this. And because you cannot place ladders onto the walls, then this is kind of the only option. if you want to climb up into it, if you're not bothered, remove the ladders and then seal the back up, and that's also a valid option. So, coming all the way back up to the very top here, we have to like counterbalance this a little bit. So we have to place some more polished blackstone slabs just extending out of the back. Either 1 or 2, I think, okay, so we'll do 1, 2, 3 slabs, polished blackstone stairs on the end, and then we'll raise up these middle blocks and then join both to each other and back to the front of the crane. So, like this, right? Perfect. Then the cab itself is going to sit here. So we're going to place 2 glass like this, extend across, back. Yellow concrete underneath this, extend back, up, join here, like this. There needs to be a seat inside this, which is just going to be a stone stairs, and we're just going to add yellow concrete underneath. We need string, so we're going to stick a string above this stone stair here, black carpet on top, just like so. You can leave it like this, or you can add just a single mangrove button, which I don't even know why I like it, but I do. And then actually, like getting up into this, we have to remove some of these ladders. I placed a little too many. This here, and then I think that in this position, yep, okay, so we will place black carpet here, string here, and then you can either like leave it open, so like you can have another black carpet and you can get in the cab. Well, you can actually full on get in the cab. So like the way that you actually like get in the cab is get in the cab. Sounds so aggressive, but the way that you would actually get in the cab is by leaving the stairs out, and then you can actually, like, and then you're up here, and this is quite a cool place to be. But the only thing is now, there's no door, but if you, so this is a valid option. I really like this. It's cool, the cool way of doing it. Otherwise, stair, remove carpet, and then we need to place, say, like, grey concrete here, and then it's so annoying. We've built ourselves in, but then we can place string here, carpet, join together. So there we go. So that's the more. So that if you're not bothered about being up in here, then this is what you would do. And maybe you'd use like a wall block for this or something. It doesn't really matter, but or maybe you'd probably use like a polished blackstone block. Would make sense, but regardless, it achieves the same effect, and that is how one would make the crane. And then, if you were feeling a little bit silly, which I do, you could make an entire roof for the house. So you'd make, you would actually just make the roof for the house, like the actual roof in its proper size, and this is just made out of stone brick stairs, and it's easy enough to see how big you actually have to make it because we have the house here itself. We're only hovering the roof a couple of rows off of the house itself, so it's quite simple just to kind of just make the edges of the roof and then just fill the middle bit in. Like, if you were going to do what I'm doing now, then even like do the edges of the roof, like the upside down parts, I'd even do that. So like just fully make it. You could, if you were feeling like extra silly, maybe even add like a chimney on the side as well that's being lifted by the crane. Probably not, that's a step too far, but yeah, you could 100% do this. It looks impressive is the thing. Like, it actually looks cool. Doesn't make sense, but looks cool in my opinion. And in the scenario that you do actually do this, you wouldn't have a part-made roof underneath the fully made roof that is being lifted onto the roof. That would be an extra level of doesn't make sense. And you know what, whilst I'm at it, why don't we just add the empty pallet to the front garden, and we will just add the fence all the way around the house, which it's not really necessary to do, to be quite honest, but I mean, we've done it in the other build, so I guess that we'll just have the continuity here. With that final detail added, ladies and gentlemen, we have officially completed this tutorial. That was part 3. Next time, we will be making the 100% fully finished house. We can now move on to phase 4, the entire house 100% fully completed inside and out. And Here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin the build by placing 5 light grey concrete in a row on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leave a gap of 2, 1, 2, and then place 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then extend backwards by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then extend across the back of the build by placing 3 light grey concrete. 1, 2, 3. Leave a gap of 1. And then place light grey concrete extending right. Line up with the front of the build. And then join all the way to it. Like this. Next, we are going to place rows of 9 white concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, extending up from each corner of the build. Although the easiest way to do this is place that initial row of 9 and then extend across and down to each one of the 4 corners, just like this. Next, we are going to make the shape of the roof. To do this, we will place rows of white concrete on the front and back of the house that are 1 row shorter than the previous row that we have placed them on top of. This is the front of the house, and we will do the exact same thing on the back. Next, we are going to make the roof itself, because why not? We will place rows of stone brick stairs that extend up and down and along the top of the frame of the house, just like this, extending all the way from the front of the build, all around the back, until we join together in a loop like this. We then want to extend the roof 1 row off of the back and the front of the house. It doesn't matter which side we are on currently, as we have to do the same thing to both sides. And then we place upside down stairs underneath the overhanging row of stone brick stairs, just like this. And we will of course apply this to the front of the house as well. And now that we have done that, we are now able to fill the roof in using stone brick stairs. This is really easy, as now all we have to do is just connect the front and the back of the build together. So now that we have made the roof itself, we are going to fill in the entire right wall of the house using white concrete. There unfortunately isn't really much room for windows on this side of the house. And we also want to do the exact same thing onto the opposite wall as well, the left side, which once again kind of suffers from just no room to place windows aside us, and unfortunately there's no cure. So now that we have the frame of the house nearing an end, I think it's a good idea to make the chimney. The chimney's really simple. On the left side of the house, we count inwards from the front, 1, 2, 3. And we extend these 2 blocks outwards and then all the way up. These are white concretes. When we get to the roof, we remove the stairs necessary so that we are able to have a 2x2 square, which we then extend up to equal the height of the pitch of the roof, which is here, and then we are able to just place flower pots on top. Now that we have done this, we are going to add more detail to the front of the build by adding a row of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 white concrete here in this position, and extending across and down to this side. So we're bridging the side, or we're bridging the gap between the 2 sides of the house. We can then extend the white concrete left and right from the top. We can add a row across the bottom here, and a row of white concrete here, and here. We extend these 2 rows of white concrete all the way up to the top of the house like so. And then we add 2 rows of white concrete here in this position as well. And this just nicely divides the house into windows and a door. And then we are going to fill the window sections in using glass. When it comes to the door, we will place 2, 1, 2 light grey concrete here, 2 here. We will then place 3, 1, 2, 3 white concrete on top of each one of the light grey concretes. We will then connect together here across the bottom and add a double door. We will probably remove these blocks later, but we need the door. And then we will place glass above the door, white concrete above the glass, and then we will place stone brick stairs across the top of our porch and extend these stairs forwards just like this, and we'll add upside down stairs underneath. We will then place a row of smooth stone by using 2 rows of slabs in front of the porch, and then we will extend forwards just by 1. And then we will actually remove an additional row in front of this, place stone, and then we will remove 2 rows in front of this and extend out left and right. And then we will place smooth stone in the empty space, just like this, to create a pavement. Perfect. Then we will place spruce fence here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the opposite side also, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then oak leaves here, poppies in front, oak leaves here, poppies in front. We will also place a stone button here, and lanterns here. This is shaping up rather nicely. Next, we are going to add a fence all the way around the house. So we will place 2 spruce planks here in line with the actual spruce fence, and then we will make a garden fence using 2 rows of spruce planks extending all the way along the edge of the grid to the back of the build. We will then extend across the back using the planks, and then we will extend all the way back to the front. And we will line up with the spruce fence. Then we will remove this row of grass on the right side of the build, extending all the way to the back, leaving a gap of 2, and we will just place grass path here. You can also just use a shovel to create it too. We want a garden gate. This is going to be here, although I probably would place a spruce plank underneath this. Next, we are going to move into the back garden itself, and we have the entire back of the house to make. I kind of forgot about that. First of all, we will place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4 white concrete in this position, and then extend across and down to bridge the gap between both sides of the house. We will then place a row of white concrete here along the base of the house, and we will also extend white concrete across, left and right like so. We then want to place a 2x2 square of glass in this corner here and here, and then we will fill this gap in right here. We will then add 2 additional rows of white concrete directly on top of everything that we've made, and then we will place 2 white concrete here, as we have the exact same thing on the front of the house, and we will place the exact same thing here as well. We are dividing the back wall of the house in the same way as we did the front. The only difference is the back door, but everything else is otherwise the same. We then want to place 2 light grey concrete here and here, join together, door here, and then we can have 3 rows of white concrete to the left and right, and then a glass here, and then we might be able to have a white concrete here, although it may also be redundant as we are adding a roof, which is just a good old standard stone brick stair roof extending off the sides, just 1 row as well. Place the upside down blocks underneath, join together with a solid block at the top, and then a row of slabs just to create that nice triangular shape. Then we are going to use 2 rows of smooth stone slabs to make a step here, and then we will step once more by using a single row of slabs. We then want to dig towards the back wall here, and we want to dig this far, so we just want to leave, as a matter of fact, we want to leave a gap of 2, that's my bad, and now I've just got rid of my stone. Anyway, we want to leave a gap of 2, and we want to create a stone pathway, like this. We also want to remove this entire back row of grass, fill it in with podzol, I've not done a great job there, and then apply large ferns to the podzol, so just all the way on top like this. We then want to leave a gap of 2 here, 1, 2, and then dig 1, 2, 3, 4, and we also want to dig that way by 4 as well, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want to have the shape, which we can then fill in using smooth stone, just like so. In addition to this, we can add oak leaves here against the house with poppies in front to match the front of the house. And then we will place stone pressure plates here, here, and here. And this all just looks very nice. Next, we are going to place a dark oak door here in this position with 2 dark oak planks left and right, which we will extend backwards by 2 rows. Join them together just like this in a circle, if you can call this a circle, which I do. And then we are going to use dark oak slabs on top of the planks to create a roof. And then we will extend these slabs 1 row forwards, and then we will just join together like this just to create the pitch of the roof. And it may be that we could add a glass in here. I don't know whether it'd be worth it or not, and I'm not sure if we can actually. We actually could, so shall we stick a glass here? Just because? This is just a good old-fashioned garden shed, so we're just going to have a crafting table in here, and really not much else, as you don't really have any room. So this is the entire outside of the house complete. There's actually only one minor detail that you may or may not want to add. So for the purposes of this house for me, I'm going to create a brand new suburban estate with a bunch of new build houses for sale. So I'm actually going to make a for sale sign here on the front of the house by placing 1, 2, 3 pale oak fence with a pale oak slab on top. Extend to the right, and then I'm going to dangle a mangrove sign, and I'm just going to have a bunch of dashes for sale, bunch of dashes underneath, and there we go. With the entire outside of the build complete, It's now time for us to head inside and work on the interior. Step 1, we are going to make the first 6 rows of the floor birch planks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is going to mainly be the living room area. We also just have to fill the little porch bit in as well. And I have chosen birch planks for the living room as it just seems a little bit more light and cheerful, especially as you walk in the house. But now that we have this, we can also create the stairs by placing a birch stair here and extending it up into the next floor. I should probably mention where the next floor actually is. So the next floor actually sits right above these windows. So we're actually going to have a double floor. We're going to have a row of smooth quartz like this, and then we're going to lay a layer of birch planks on top. So we can, that is white concrete. So we want to first of all add a layer of smooth quartz, just exactly as I positioned it. This is just right above the windows. This gives us 3 rows of space to work with on the ground level, and then we will place the birch planks directly on top. You know, whilst we're up here, it's quite easy to divide the top floor into rooms. So at the top of the stairs, we want to leave a gap of 1, 2, and then place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4 white concrete here in this position. We then want to extend this way by 1, place an oak door here. We then want to extend this way by 1, dark oak door, 4 white concrete, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then dark oak door, white concrete here. Then we're just going to raise up the white concretes a little bit. So we can actually raise up the white concretes a few rows just up to the roof line. Just like this. And then we can extend it across the doors here. And then we just have to divide these rooms up. And all we've got to do is just create a solid wall just right here in this position. This is right next to the door. And this is what we have just from the outside. So you can see that we have 2 doors. This is going to be a bathroom. This is a bedroom. That's a closet. We also actually want to make the ceiling above this as well so that we can install an attic. We are just going to place rows of smooth quartz just directly on top of our walls. The second story is a little bit different as we have 4 rows of clearance as opposed to the 3 that we have downstairs. So we have a little bit more headspace up here. I'm starting to feel a little bit claustrophobic. There we go, perfect. So the ladders to the attic are right here in this corner. We can literally just dig directly in here, and there is just enough space. Like, I don't know how high you want to actually climb the ladder, but we can just stick a spruce trapdoor here, and now we have some attic space, which we'll have a little look at later. And also, we are going to add some spruce fence just as a banister along these stairs. And then it's kind of up to you how you want to deal with this. Would you like to place some white concrete underneath this to make this look a little bit smoother, a little bit neater? We could remove this layer of smooth quartz underneath it because it's not necessary. It kind of opens it up a little bit. Well, now that we find ourselves down here, we can now add the staircase. Those are the stairs, but along the side of it, we want to place a row of 1, 2, 3 white concrete like this, oak door here, white concrete here, join to this wall, extend this way, dark oak door here, and then 2 white concrete here, dark oak door, and then white concrete extending this way. We then want to place a row of white concrete here to divide up these 2 rooms. This shall be a kitchen and this will be a dining room. And we want to actually count 1, 2 rows here, Then we'll have another door so that we can move in between all of these rooms freely. And then we can just extend the white concretes up and around all of the doors. Oh, there's actually a little porthole here. You don't need this, but we can actually see into the kitchen from the living room, which I like quite a bit. And we can raise up the rest of these walls, just like so. And the staircase here, we just have to add a little bit of white concrete. And then underneath the stairs, chest here, torch here, and then, well, I mean, you can cover it up or not. It actually doesn't matter. Like, if you want to hide a little something there, you can. And you could even have, like, a little toilet underneath there, too, if you wanted to. But now that we have done this, we are going to add a TV on this wall. So we'll add 2 spruce slabs here in this position. And then we will have a 1x2 painting. It doesn't really matter to me which painting the TV is. That one will do nicely. And then we'll leave a gap of 1, 2 spruce stairs here. And then we'll have a spruce stair here. And then spruce signs either side of the stairs. Just like so. We will then place bookshelves in between these doors with an item frame here, tripwire hook here, and then a polished blackstone button here. We then want to create a table here by placing a spruce trapdoor this way, here, flower pot, fern inside of it, and then armor stand here, tripwire hook here, and then we want some... So you can use brown wool, or you can just use brown carpet to have a little rug. I prefer the rug, but if you wanted the wool, you could actually remove the floor and replace it. And this is pretty much what the entire living room looks like. It's nice and simple. Next, we are going to turn our attention to the kitchen. So, first things first, we have to create the floor. This is a mixture of polished diorite and polished blackstone, placed in a checkered pattern. A classic kitchen floor. Ideally, we would also remove underneath these doors, so we're just going to bite the bullet and we're going to do it. So we'll place one here, here, and then we'll just grab that door, and I can't get back in. And then we'll place one here too. Okay, that's perfect. So, the kitchen itself, light grey concrete here, then a cauldron here, tripwire hook above it, light grey concrete here, 2 blocks of iron here stacked up, light grey concrete, furnace, smooth stone slab here, white banner here. Next, we'll place a brewing stand here, flower pot here, and then a row of light grey shulker boxes here, stone stair here, rail here, brewing stand here, and then just one tripwire hook here, just maybe a little bit further in, so for the back door. And I am just noticing that we have to seal that up with some smooth quartz. And this is, let's take a look, that, oh, and some stone buttons for the fridge, and once you've done that, that is absolutely perfect. Which leads us into, plunk, this room. So, step 1, we have to do the floor. This is a mixture of brown wool and brown terracotta. So, just as with the kitchen, it's a checkered pattern, so just pick one block first and then do the other. And unfortunately, so we have to remove these doors and continue the pattern, and then we can replace the doors afterwards. And I don't know why I'm struggling with doors today, but here we are. In the corner of the room, double bookshelf all the way up to the ceiling. Here, decorated pot, flower pot inside of it, fern here. Here, note block, oak trapdoor on top of it. Next, we will turn our attention to this wall, where we will place 2 spruce stairs here, and we can flip up, that is not right, and we can flip up some spruce trapdoors here to create a bench, and then we can create a table by placing spruce slabs here in this position, and you can clad it with spruce signs, or you could go for something a bit different. You could go for this sort of effect if you wanted to, and then I suppose you could still add a sign if you so chose. Then flower pot here, here, item frame here, here, table runner here, here, and then we will place a 1x1 right here. That's That's actually nice. That's perfect. The carrot. It's not actually a carrot, it's meant to be a plant pot, but still, it looks like a carrot. With the dining room complete, we can now actually head upstairs and work on the second floor. The first thing we are going to make is a banner. Throw down a loom, open it up, white banner in there with black dye, and apply the pale pattern. And then the fast pattern, white dye in there, apply the pale Dexter, then base pattern, and then brown dye in there, and apply the bourgeois pattern. We also have a couple more banners to make as well. So one of them is a towel, which is a white banner, green dye, the pally pattern. And then the other is a mirror, which is the light blue banner with some white dye. Apply a gradient pattern, bend pattern, and then black dye and a bourgeois pattern. And these are our 3 banners, one of which we need right now, which is just the clock banner. It's going to go right here, just at the top of the stairs. And on this wall here, we want to have a painting, a 1x2. That's actually the perfect colour scheme. And I was contemplating whether or not we could do with a little bit of carpet, like maybe just across here, and we can just short one of these. We'd actually be able to place it all the way here, wouldn't we? That would actually look nice. We could actually just use wool as well. That's actually a benefit to having the double floor. We could remove this and place wool, but I do like carpet where possible, just because I like the... It's such a minor detail, but I like the difference in height. Next, we are going to head into the bathroom, which is this door at the end of the hall. First of all, there is a shower in here. Remove this block, place an oak trapdoor. To the right of this, we'll remove this block, and also 1, 2, 3 rows here. And we'll replace these blocks with quartz bricks. We will then place 3 rows of glass pane here along the edge of the shower. But we do want to leave enough space so that we can get in. The doorway is meant to be here, so this is just the shower screen. Then end rod here, iron door here, stone button here, just like so. Then in this corner, we will place a spruce plank, item frame here, sponge here. We will then place the towel block here, and 2 spruce trapdoors here, flower pot here, fern here, and then candles here. I like the light blue candles for some reason, but it doesn't really match the colour scheme, but oh well. Then on this wall here, upside down, smooth quartz stair, spruce trapdoor here, flower pot here, item frame here, stone button here, and then a white banner hanging down, the most perfect toilet roll holder anyone has ever seen. Then on this wall here, we will place 1, 2, 3 spruce planks with an item frame here, lever here, then the mirror banner hanging down. Then we can place a flower pot here. And we can then add some brown carpet just in front of it. And if you did want to change the floor, you 100% can, but I'm not certain what we would change it to that would make it look nicer. The only thing that I can think of is to make it all quartz bricks. But I suppose this does look a little bit better, doesn't it? And then maybe we can just steal. So you could have like a walk-in shower in the, it doesn't really matter like where you stand, like the whole floor. This is like an entire wet room, or you could have some smooth quartz for the base of the shower. I think that either way looks nice. I do like that there is a bit of differentiation, so I will let you kind of like decide for yourself, but I do think that is actually an improvement, surprisingly. I'm just realizing you could choose to have a painting in here as well, if you did want to, and I think that does brighten things up a little bit. I probably wouldn't place one anywhere else. I think that's just about it, and yeah. So next we are going to head into the bedroom, which is at the other end of the hall here. And the first thing we are going to do is construct a bookcase right in the corner here. And then a clock banner here. And then a bedside table in the form of an upside down spruce stair here, spruce sign in front, and you can even have a cheeky little bit of lighting underneath it if you like as well. Then 2 rows of 3 brown wool next to this with white carpet. at the base of the bed, or at the top of the bed, I should say. We will then place a chest here, end rod here, brown glazed terracotta here, and then just a TV on the wall in the form of just a painting. Okay, well, not that one. I really like... I mean, that one's actually okay with the colours, but I kind of want... Yes, okay, so that's actually what I'm after. I think that looks pretty nice. And the room doesn't look too bad. As kind of with the bathroom, I wasn't certain what floor would look best. Like, obviously, we do have the dining room as an example of brown on brown, so like we could have checkered. Is that too much brown though? I did actually try green. Ultimately, I did kind of just decide to leave it as birch. But we could... What if... Guys, what if we just made it spruce? What if we just made the whole thing spruce planks? I think that actually looks really nice. Okay, there's spruce planks it is. We do just have to remove the door. I need another one. Stat. And oh. Pet peeve. Let's just replace underneath the door here. Perfect. Okay, nice. And then we can go straight into the walk-in. And the walk-in could be different, or maybe we'll just have it flow through. We'll use some spruce for this. So the walk-in, we can have a row of bookshelves just here in the corner, and then we can like extend across the top. And then we can create a couple of end rods here, brown banners here, and then, or maybe we can have, we can even have this. Maybe we can have like a couple of spruce trap doors above this. I think, yeah, okay, that's better. I like this as a walk-in closet, and we got rid of the door, didn't we? But you know what? I think a spruce door would actually match it better anyway. And then we kind of just have a little bit of dead space in this, oh, what the perfect painting for this color scheme. Absolutely fantastic. Very nice. And now, that actually leads us upstairs, which, to be honest, is a little bit boring. So this is the attic. You could convert it to another bedroom up here, or something if you wanted to. I was just about to say, like, a home gym. That'd be crazy. Imagine coming from, like, the attic floor as you're, like, oh no, doing... You're just on the treadmill, you're just pounding the treadmill, and before you know it, your dad just flies through the ceiling because the attic wasn't rated to like hold that kind of force. But I'm thinking just kind of like a massive storage area. I'd make it look nicer than this. I honestly don't really want to spend too much time on it. But something like this, you know, just a bunch of stuff up here, just armor stands, tables, you know, any kind of like crafting table and stuff. Just makes sense. And yeah, just kind of like a storage room up here. It would probably make sense to even have some carpet up here to match the scheme. You could even double floor it, but then the problem would be that you can't... We'd have to change how we get up here. You could actually do it, as a matter of fact. You could double floor it, I believe, if you... Actually, no. I think something like this is best. Yeah, I like this. You could even do this. So I'd like iron bars and a lantern. You could have like a really crude light up here. So something like this. So have like that, and then like just a button that turns on the light, if that makes sense. Just something like really crude. And I'm okay, we're done. I guess we're done up there. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, with that final detail added, we have officially completed our house. However, this video is not over. We must now add our brand new house and houses under construction into our city. So the plan for this set of builds is very simple. We are going to create a brand new suburban neighborhood in construction. And in this suburban neighborhood, we are going to have a mix of finished streets. As you can see, we can use the fully completed house to make a brand new street, but we can then clone everything that we have made, flip it, and we can just make a larger density construction site. And this, I think, is the perfect size for the city. I know exactly where I am going to put it. There is a spot that is perfect for this up near the more rural part of my city, right next to the motorway, kind of tucked away in this corner. This is where the suburbs in progress is going to live. I think that this is just the ideal place. This looks amazing. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, please remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Also, consider becoming a channel member. You will gain access to loyalty badges, some fun emojis, and a monthly download for every single build used in our city. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.